Okay, July 12th. First Chronicles 12:19 through 14:17. And some from Manasseh defected to David when he was going with the Philistines to battle against Saul. But they did not help him, for the lords of the Philistines sent him away by agreement, saying, he may defect to his master Saul and endanger our heads. When he went to Ziklag, those of Manasseh who defected to him were Anani, Josab, Jeziel, Michael, Joseph, Elihu, Zilhi, and Zilithai, captains of the thousands who were from Manasseh. And they helped David against the bands of the raiders, for they were all mighty men of valor, and they were captains in the army. For at that time they had come to David day by day to help him until it was a great army, like the army of God. Now these were the numbers of the divisions that were equipped for war, and came to David at Hebron to turn over the kingdom of Saul to him, according to the word of the Lord. Of the sons of Judah, bearing shield and spear, 6,800 armed for war. From the sons of Simeon, mighty men of valor, fit for war, 7,100. Of the sons of Levi, 4,600. Jedediah, the leader of the Aaronites, and with him 3,700. Zodok, a young man, a valiant warrior, and from his father's house 22 captains of the sons of Benjamin, relatives of Saul, 3,000, until the greatest part of them had remained loyal to the house of Saul. Of the sons of Ephraim, 20,800 mighty men of valor, famous men throughout the fathers' houses. Of the half tribe of Manasseh, 18,000 who were designated by name to come to make David king. Of the sons of Issachar, who were understanding of the times, to know that what Israel ought to do. Their chiefs were 200, and their brethren were at their command. Of Zebulun, there were 50,000 who went to battle, experts in war, all with weapons of war, stout-hearted men who could keep ranks. Of Nephtali, 1,000 captains, with them 30,000 with shield and spear. Of the Danites who could keep battle formation, 28,600. Of Asher, those who could go to war, able to keep battle formation, 40,000. Of the Reubenites and the Gadites, the half tribe of Manasseh, from the other side of the Jordan, 120,000 armed for battle with every kind of weapon of war. And these men of war who could keep ranks came to Hebron with loyal heart to make David king over all Israel. And all the rest of Israel were of one mind to make David king. And they were there with David 3 days, eating and drinking, for their brethren had prepared them. Moreover, those who were near to them, from as far away as Issachar and Zebulun and Naphtali, were bringing food on donkeys, and camels on mules and oxen, provision of flowers and cakes and figs, of cakes of raisins, wine and oil and oxen and sheep abundantly, for there was joy in Israel. Then David consulted with the captains of the thousands of the hundreds, and with every leader. And David said to all the assembly of Israel, if it seems good to you, and if the Lord it, and it is of the Lord our God, let us send out our brethren everywhere who are left in all the land of Israel, and with them the priests and the Levites who are in all the cities and all their common lands, that they may gather together to us, and let us bring the ark of God back to us, for we have not inquired of it since the days of Saul. Then all the assembly said they would do so, for the thing was right in the eyes of all the people. So David gathered all Israel together from Shinar of Egypt in Egypt to as far as the entrance of Hamath to bring the ark of God to Kirjam Jearim. And David and all Israel went up to Bala to Kiram Jearim, which belonged to Judah, to bring up from there the ark of the Lord, who dwells between the cherubim, whose name is proclaimed. So they carried the ark of God on a new cart from the house of Abidan, and Uzzah and Ohah drove the cart. Then David and all of Israel played music before God with all their might, with singing on harps and on stringed instruments, on tabourines and cymbals and with trumpets. And when they came to Chidon's threshing floor, Uzzah put out his hand to hold the ark, for the oxen stumbled. Then the anger of the Lord was aroused against Uzzah, and he struck him because he put his hand to the ark, and he died there before God. And David became angry because of the Lord's outbreak against Uzzah. Therefore, that place is called Perez Uzzah to this day. David was afraid of God that day, saying, "How can I bring the ark of God to me?" So David would not move the ark with him into the city of David, but took it aside to the house of Obed Edom, the Gittite. The ark of God remained with the family of Obed Edom and his house for 3 months. And the Lord blessed the house of Obed Edom and all that he had. Now Haran, king of Tyre, sent messengers to David and cedar trees with masons and carpenters to build him a house. So David knew that the Lord had established him king over Israel, for his kingdom was highly exalted for the sake of his people Israel. And then David took more wives in Jerusalem, and David begot more sons and daughters. And these are the names of his children whom he had in Jerusalem: Shemua, Shobab, Nathan, Solomon, Ibar, Elisha, Ephet, Nepheg, Shepha, Eliasma, Belida, and Eliaphilet. Now, when the Philistines heard that David had been anointed king over all Israel, all the Philistines went up to search for David. And David heard of it and went out against them. Then the Philistines went and made a raid on the valley of Rephaim. And David required of the Lord, said, "Shall I go against the Philistines? Will you deliver them into my hand?" The Lord said to him, "Go up, for I will deliver them into your hand." So they went up to Baal Perazim, and David defeated them there. Then David said, "God has broken through my enemies by my hand like a breaking through of water." Therefore they called the place of the name Baal Perazim. And when they left their gods there, David gave the commandment, and they were burned with fire. Then the Philistines once again made a raid on the valley. Therefore David inquired again of God, and God said to him, "You shall not go up after them. Circle around them and come up upon them from the front of the mulberry trees. And it shall be when you hear the sound of the marching on the tops of the mulberry trees, then you shall go out to battle, for God has gone out before you to strike the camp of the Philistines." So David did as God commanded him, and they drove back the army of the Philistines from Gibeon as far as Gizar. And then the fame of David went out into all the lands, and the Lord brought the fear of him upon all nations. Romans 1:1-17. Paul, a bondservant of Jesus Christ, called to be an apostle, separated to the gospel of God, which he promised before through his prophets in the Holy Scriptures concerning his Son Jesus Christ our Lord, who was born of the seed of David according to the flesh, and declared to be the Son of God with the power according to the Spirit, by the resurrection from the dead. Through him we have received grace and apostleship for obedience to the faith among all nations for his name, among whom you are also called, of Jesus Christ. To all who are in Rome, beloved of God, called to be saints, grace and peace from our God, our Father, and from our Lord Jesus Christ. First, I thank my God through Jesus Christ for all of you, that your faith is spoken of throughout the whole world. For God is my witness, whom I serve with my spirit in the gospel of his Son, that without ceasing I make mention of you. I make mention of you always in my prayers, making request of by some means now that at last I may find a way in the will of God to come to you. For I long to see you, that I may impart to you some spiritual gift, so that you may be established. That is, that I may be encouraged together with you by the mutual faith both of you and me. Now I do not want you to be unaware, brethren, that I often planned to come to you, but was hindered until now, that I might have some fruit among you also, just as among the other Gentiles. I am a debtor both to the Greeks and to the barbarians, both to the wise and to the unwise. So, as much as it is in me, I am ready to preach the gospel to you who are in Rome also. For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God to salvation for everyone who believes. First, first, for first, and also for the Greek. For in the righteousness of God is revealed from faith to faith, as is written, they shall live by faith. Psalms 9:13-20. Have mercy on me, O Lord. Consider my troubles from those who hate me. You who lift me up from the gates of death, that I may tell of all your praise in the gates of the daughter of Zion. I will rejoice in your salvation. The nations have sunk down to the pit which they have made. In the net which they hid, their own foot is caught. The Lord is known by the judgment of he executes. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hand. Selah. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forgot God. For the needy shall not always be forgotten. The expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. Arise, O Lord, do not let man prevail. Let the nations be judged in your sight. Put them in fear, O Lord. Let that the nations may know themselves to be but men. Selah. Proverbs 19:4-5. Wealth makes many friends, but the poor is separated from his friend. A false witness will not go unpunished, but he who speaks lies will not escape. All right. See y'all tomorrow.